Pod.
Rugby pod. Hello, and welcome back to the Rugby pod.
Hello.
And we are pumped because we are heading into one of the best periods of the season. Even though we're going to the US. It isn't that. It is the North versus South showdown. Hell yeah. Very American, Andrew. See what I've done? England squad is confirmed for a showdown with the Australians. My South Africans are already in London. Scotland are hosting the USA. And we are in the USA ahead of the All Blacks versus Ireland. So, Andrew, a massive week and weekend of ruggers.
It certainly is, Jim. And I cannot wait for New York and Chicago. Are you thirsty?
Yes.
Yes.
In the other room.
Okay, yeah. 2 nights. Yes, James. And if that's not enough for me and you, James, 2 nights in America, 1 in New York, 1 in Chicago. The Prem was on fire this weekend as well. Some unbelievable matches as Saints took on Sarries. Leicester played Sale in a hell of a ding-dong. And the URC was good fun too. Munster and the Stormers kept their 100% record in the URC. And we'll be chatting about how good Cardiff are. The only positive in Welsh rugby right now, after they said they're going to reduce the teams to 3 at some point.
Well, we've got a show in Cardiff we're announcing soon, so we will be talking about them briefly, potentially. So you know the drill is always settle back, enjoy, and can you do us a favour? If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and leave us a comment while you're on there. The only platform that really matters, though, to interact with and to watch and to listen. Which one is it, Andrew?
It's Spotify in my American accent. Because we are hitting New York City, baby.
Yes, we are. New York, Spotify. This episode is presented by Ford and the new Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid, which has this really clever optional feature called Pro Power on board that basically means the truck itself is a power source.
Out on site, off-grid, even at an event, you can literally plug straight into the Ranger and keep your gear running.
The new Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid, more power. Just in case, order before the end of December and get a free home charger included. Search Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid or visit ford.co.uk for more information.
Good weekend, James.
Yeah. Good weekend. I've been looking after the 4 kids while my good lady has been doing high rocks in Birmingham. So I am rested and not at all agitated and fresh and lucid. And I love my kids and being a father and fucking get me to America.
So you didn't go down there this time to make yourself feel inferior looking at all the dudes with their tops off and ripped up to the hills?
No, it just that adds a demasculation that I don't need right now.
Okay.
Andrew. So, yeah, I was doing the father thing. So, stayed here in Edinburgh and I'm happy, but I'm ready. I've earned the right.
Yes, you have, James. Yes, you have.
Anyway, you, Andrew, you were close to me on Friday night, weren't you?
Oh, I was in Glasgow.
That's close.
Yeah, close. But I didn't pay into the local community on Friday night because no one's thirsty. And I saved it. I saved the bullets that I have. I've got plenty of bullets to fire when it comes to nights out. But yeah, I did the Glasgow Bulls game on Friday night and then a wholesome weekend with the family too, James. Took them down to Virginia Water, which is Windsor Great Park, for a massive bike ride. And I just couldn't stop thinking about what we're going to do in New York and Chicago this week. So I think we've both earned the right, James, to have a hell of a week in Chicago and New York. And I'm going to tell you now, I don't think I've ever been thirstier. Just to let you know, I don't think I've ever been thirstier for a couple of nights on it with you.
Well, I know that look in your eye and also the colour of your skin because it isn't red. It's not inflamed. You've obviously been off whatever you've been off for the last week. So I know that you're ready. But I did have some reflection over the weekend when I was at my lowest ebb and thought, I feel very lucky to be doing what we're doing and heading over to the US. And, you know, both shows are nearly sold out. We'll get on to the live shows a little bit later. But how cool is it? The week of an epic showdown between Ireland and the All Blacks. It's iconic there in the US in Chicago that we get to go there and take the Rugby pod on tour to the US. It's a bit of a dream come true. So I had a moment of reflection and I'm ready.
Yeah, good to hear. It was interesting. I had something similar at the weekend. I was chatting to Bella, one of the twins, and she was like, "Daddy, you talk absolute rubbish." And I just looked back at her and I said, "I know, I do. And I get paid to do it. And we go out around the world doing it." and people want to listen to the rubbish that we speak. So I'm with you, Jim. Like, it is a pinch yourself moment, and we're very privileged and lucky to do what we do. Some of the places we go to, Hong Kong, Bahrain, possibly Dubai soon, New York, Chicago. We're in the Grand Cayman Islands. You know, there's loads of stuff that we've been doing, and it is a privilege to do it. But it is work as well, Jim. That's what I say in the house.
It is work.
I'm like, I've got to go working again. So I'm looking forward to a big week. You better pack your drinking boots because I am thirsty as fuck.
Well, I've packed Das Booty Scooten. In fact, I'll be wearing them. I live in them. I will die in them as well. But let's park that for now. Let's get through some obligatories, Andrew. England squad, again, a new one was manipulated and announced. I don't know what the first one, that was a training squad one, but the England squad's now been updated for the Australia game. Tom Curry, Jack Kenningham in, and Noah Kalori. I mentioned it, I spoke about it, I whispered about it last week. He's now been upgraded to the full squad. So positive decisions, Andrew, from Steve Borthwick? Yeah, I like the squad. One glaring omission, and you mentioned Noah Kalori, obviously not him, but Adam Radwan, man. As you said, he's the only guy, and the Owen Farrell scenario that you could probably look at and go, could they be in? And we debated the whole Owen Farrell thing last week, and that obviously hasn't changed. But I like the squad, I really do. There's a real blend of youngsters. You mentioned Jack Kenningham there. The back row battle is going to be fierce, right, with some of the players. But Jack Kenningham, who you said a few weeks ago, you really rated and, you know, has got sort of international quality to him. So really pleased for him. Obviously disappointed for Emeka Ilione at Leicester, who was in the squad last week and then came off the bench at the weekend and has hurt himself playing against Sale. And we'll get onto that game. What about that run that he does? Absolutely loved it. Yeah. Ridiculous, but loved it.
Yeah, so we'll get onto that game in a bit. But the balance of the squad, the positivity around the attacking intent, Lee Blackett being part of the coaching team, the scrum halves. Look at the scrum half battle. You've got Mitchell, who is our first choice 9. You've got Ben Spencer in there as well now, who hopefully is going to be in there to stay for the next few years leading up to the World Cup, has a real attacking 9. And then Rafi Quirk's the third one as well. So when you start to look at the squad, the 6 wingers, I think Caden Murley is slightly lucky to be in ahead of Adam Radwan. Rada scores a couple at the weekend. A great footwork, and he's an out-and-out finisher. But Caden Murley's probably got a little bit of credit in the bank with Steve from being in and around the squad for quite some time and is a good all-round winger, whereas I think Radwan is more of a X-factor finisher and still a bit rusty in a couple of other areas of his game. And that selection probably came down to Noah Kalori having a complete point of difference with his aerial ability, getting ahead of Radwan. But also then when you look at a Henry Arundel and a Radwan, they're very similar players in that sense, I think. So, what can you say? I like the balance. There's loads of questions around who's going to play at 10, who's going to play in the centres, the balance of the back row. I think the front 5, bar hooker, probably picks itself if you're just going all out full noise against Australia, which they will. But the balance of the squad is really good, from youth to excitement to experience. And England, as I said the other week, they're on this run of games and victories. Obviously won 3 in the summer and then the last 4 Six Nations games. So 7 on the spin that we've won. We should be going into it positive, excited, and having watched those games in the summer as we both did, the actual way we played and the way we attacked and the way we got to edges and offloaded under Steve as head coach, but primarily Lee Blackett as attack coach, is really exciting for anyone rocking up to Allianz Stadium next Saturday to take on the Aussies.
Yes, Andrew. One thing I would question, though, when people are talking about Caden Murley and Adam Radwan, is that Caden plays on the left wing and Adam Radwan is on the right wing. One wears 11, one wears 14. So that could be something with that. But the back 3 is going to be interesting how Steve makes it up, because we know how good Australia are now, for one, with their kicking game. I know there's question marks over Freddie Stewart. Does Tommy Freeman start at 13? The whispers are that it could be him and Ollie Lawrence at 12, but he was so good against Saracens the other night, scored 4 tries, that he's got a point of difference as a winger as well, but I think there's a luxury for Steve in the back three. There's also a luxury in the back row as well, and that's going to be something where I don't believe Steve Borthwick has quite managed to find the balance of his back row. Do you know what I mean? And actually, to be fair, I thought in Argentina, with having an all-out 8 in Tom Willis, who now isn't in the squad because he's decided to go to France, so therefore he can't be in the squad now, which I don't get because they could use him.
He still can.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They can use him now. And I don't know why they haven't used him now because he's probably the best man to wear the number 8 jersey. But you look at the balance of the back row. If England are going to do something at the World Cup, he needs to get that right. He needs to have in his mind, is Ben Earl an 8, for example? Or is he a 7? You know, we know Tom Curry is an out-and-out 7. He's back in the squad now.
He is, yeah.
Like, I mean, he's a brilliant player. Does he go for the rangy 6 with an Ollie Chesham, for example? Does he look at that again? I mean, my preference would be, if I'm picking the team and he isn't in the squad, is Tom Willis at 8, a Tom Curry at 7, and an Ollie Chesham at 6. That's the kind of back row that I would choose.
Yeah,
but I'm not English.
You're old school, Jim. You're old school.
Go on then. Where are you going?
Well, no, I agree. Tom Willis should be in there, but ultimately that's the decision that Steve's made because he signed for Bordeaux next year. So it's kind of like, do we persist with a guy that is not going to be at the World Cup in 2 years' time? And he's made that hard decision. So we have to kind of park that. The balance of the back row is key. You could go 3 small back rowers, but we also know Steve's a kind of horses for courses man in games, and Australia have a very good line-out, don't they? They have big, rangy line-out options. They normally have 3 or 4 options in the line-out, don't they, Australia?
Yeah, a few injuries in the second row this weekend against Japan going into the game. But yeah, I know what you mean. Here's a stat for you, Andrew.
Go on.
So from Friday night's game, which was epic between Northampton and Saracens, Henry Pollock started at 8 and outplayed Tom Willis. So our stat man, Isaac, will just put a name to it, even if he's got it wrong. But I hope he's got it right because we're the number 1 rugby podcast in the world. So we should have the right stat man involved. Anyway, both made 16 carries in the game. Yeah. Pollock made 85 metres at 8 and Willis made 18. And out of those, Pollock made 2 line breaks and Tom Willis made 0.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's weird, isn't it, that I've not even mentioned Henry Pollock. So I have a short memory, right? So I just go with the flow. Like whatever's happening in that moment, whatever's trending, I'll just be like, yeah, just go for it.
That's the thing around Henry Pollock. You've got Ben Earl, Henry Pollock. There are a lot of sort of crossover 7-8s, aren't they? So you've said Ben Earl's a 7 before. He obviously plays 8. Who'd you pick at 8 in that squad? Henry Pollock and his rat's tail? I mean, what about the lid? He's just gone. He's just gone full. Look at me.
I'm there for it.
Yeah. Let him do what he wants, and I love it because he backs it up. But I can't get behind the rat's tail though. That's the only thing I can't do.
Well, mate, my one of the kids, Max, has got a rat's tail.
Was he?
I'll send you a picture. He's got like a mullet and a rat's tail. I think it looks sick. I'd go for one. I don't expect you to go for a rat's tail or even understand how or why that should look the way that it does.
Yeah. But then the battle at 8, you go Cunningham South at 8.
Outplayed Willis the other week.
Yeah, he did in a roundabout way. If you move Chesham to 6, who are you playing in the second row? Because Nick Ezekwe, the only other second rows in the squad are Alex Coles or Nick Ezekwe. And I know you're a big mate of Nick Ezekwe and you're a big fan, but I don't see him as international level starting second row.
I'm the same on Coles. Not that I don't believe that he is international quality, but we were going back and forth on the group chat, weren't we, with Biggs, and we were talking about Alex Coles. Wicked player, brilliant standout player for Northampton. Yet to see it, and he was good against Argentina. In the second row, it's a big step up physically at that level. Does he start? I know what you mean. I know. So we're the same on the second row. So Chesham has to start in the row against Australia in the second row.
Yeah. And so back row, I'm going Henry Pollock at 8. Sam Underhill is on fire at 7. Obviously, Tom Curry is a world-class operator, but he's got no rugby behind him. But it's great to see him back fitting in the squad. So I'm starting Sam Underhill at 7. And then I'm going Chandler Cunningham South at 6. So you've got that tall, rangy, powerful runner, but also decent line-out option, which Steve is a massive fan of, obviously. So yeah, I'm going, that's my back row. 6, Cunningham South. 7, Underhill. And 8, Henry Pollocks.
Yeah, Charlie Clinton South did well against Australia. That's when he burst onto the scene last year, didn't he? With the frozen man.
Yeah.
With the frozen man. Here's one for you. Who goes in as favourites then? So you can't go based on the weekend's game for Australia. I think there was 13 changes against Japan. Weather was abysmal. But they're good now. Australia are good. We saw British and Irish Lions tour. We saw the championship. Physically, they're there. They've got strength in depth across the board with their team now. Mate, they're good. They're good, but so are England.
Yeah.
So are England now. You look at the quality of the Prem and you look at what they did to Argentina with a second string team, with all due respect for England, and the quality that's coming through. We mentioned like the back row and we've mentioned the back three. They could choose 4. They can go with Finn Smith at 10. They've got quality players, whoever they put at 12 and 13. I know that you and Biggs were talking about issues at 12 potentially, but in most positions, England are stacked, but Australia are good now.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think England are favourites. It's at Allianz Stadium, so we're at home. There'll be a bit of pain still there from last year when we should have beaten them by 10 or 15 points. Steve makes a few changes. Henry Slade flew out the line, didn't he, towards the end? And then I think it was Jorgensen scored in the corner to win it with right at the death. I think England are quite settled. If you go Mitchell at 9, I think you go Finn Smith at 10. Just the way he's come back and played exceptionally well for Saints. His all-round game, short kicking game, ball handling. The link with, I think you go Dingwall at 12 as well, and then Ollie Lawrence at 13 in his best position. And then a back three probably of Freeman, Fawa, Boso and Freddie Stewart. I think when you look at that, that's a really good, balanced, exciting England backline. And the reason I think England are favourites is because it's not the full-strength Australia team. So that full-strength Australia team that beat the Lions in the third test should have, could have, would have possibly beaten the Lions in that second test. Yeah, but they didn't. They had Will Skelton, Rob Valentini was playing, Taniela Tupou, Len Ikitau, Hooper was involved. Now, I don't know whether Tupou is involved because he's signed over in France, but that might be after the Autumn Nation Series when that starts. But I know for a fact that Will Skelton isn't available because of this game sits outside the international window. I mean, how ridiculous is it that we're still playing games outside of it? Why don't they just extend the international window so we can see the best players playing? I think Rob Valentini picked up a bang at the weekend playing against Japan. And so they're two, and it depends on Taniela Tupou, but you take those 3 out of the mix and it's a very different Australia team from a physical point of view. And they've definitely not got Will Skelton. Question mark over Valentini. Ikitau at 12. He's at Exeter now, so he won't be playing. Hooper in the back row at Exeter as well. He won't be playing. So that you start talking about the differences in what is Australia's best team. And I think Australia's best team can go toe-to-toe with anyone. Like James O'Connor isn't going to be playing at 10. He had a big impact over the summer as well, didn't he, in the Rugby Championship. So they're missing a few. So that's why I think England are favourites and probably 10-point favourites, if I'm being honest. And that's England not having played a game this season, but off the back of where they were in the summer, the back end of the Six Nations, the positivity, the attacking intent, and the feel-good factor around the England squad. Well, James, we're over in Chicago, and it's going to be an unbelievable week over there. But also at the end of the week is a monster game. The old rivalry between Ireland and New Zealand is reignited. The scene of their very first victory over New Zealand, which was unbelievable. They even dyed the river green for the Irish, didn't they, when they beat them a few years back? There's been some rivalry now. You go back over the last few games. Last year, the All Blacks won 23-13 at the Aviva, which I think was the first game that they lost in something like 19 at home, something along those lines, where they took their record away from them. You go back to the time they played them before that, 23 World Cup, that quarter-final game, which was, as we've spoken about loads of times, was absolutely epic. The time before that they played was when Ireland went over to New Zealand to win the series, which was unbelievable scenes. And so the history of this game and the rivalry that's built up, it's going to be an epic week over in Chicago. So what do you reckon?
Well, firstly, on that being an epic week or a weekend, how cool is it that there's an Irish heartbeat in the US, Chicago specifically, right? We know that from years gone by, and history tells us that. But the All Blacks are loved globally and going over to the US. So to have a game over there of this size is really cool. So we'll be there for part of the build-up, which will be really interesting to see. I've been to Chicago, Lollapalooza, been there on a Sarries trip as well, but I've not been there for a test week. So that I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And you said there, like an old rivalry. This is a proper rivalry now. There's a bit of hatred. There's a bit of niggle. You think of the World Cup in 2023, because this is recent to us, obviously, and recent where it's given us a lot to talk about because of Ireland not making it past the quarterfinals and the All Blacks making it to the final again, kind of limped their way to the final in 2023, and the redemption story of last year for Ireland and Rico Ioane coming back to Dublin after all the social media fallout and everything around that, and Ireland not performing at home. So there's some real niggle between these two teams. It feels a little bit different this time round because I'm just unsure where the All Blacks are. You know, you see the news of Jason Holland coming out that he's not renewing his contract. Liam McDonald walks last year. It just feels a little bit kind of bitty from them. And I'm only going based on some of the stuff that I've seen in New Zealand, the breakdown show with Jeff Wilson, for example. He's talking about this All Blacks team and how they rebuild for the World Cup in Australia in a couple of years. I know it's the Autumn Nation Series, right? But this feels like a one-off game. Right, a load of hype around it, a different stadium, Soldier Field Stadium. Yeah, I can't wait. I don't know how it's going to go, because if you go based on Ireland, haven't played together for a while, you read the newspapers over there, you listen to stuff in Ireland, the hangover from the Lions, Leinster not performing well this year, but under Andy Farrell, when they put the green jersey on, they're a different team, you know, but they're not unbreakable. You know what I mean? There's something within this Ireland team where it feels like they're still a bit fragile at points, and they'll know that, right? Don't need a podcaster to sit there and pass judgment and say that. But it feels like a one-off game within the series, right? Because it's in the US, everything around that, the hype around that. But I think Ireland win.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, and until I see otherwise from New Zealand, I haven't seen a complete performance from them for a while. And I don't want to sound harsh. I think there's still question marks within their team of who the 10 is, who's running the show there.
Bowden, all day. Yeah. Starting now.
Yeah. But it hasn't been, has it? You know, Damien McKenzie wants that 10 jersey. He's probably better off the bench to play 15. I don't know a huge amount about all the All Blacks. Probably my job to find out more, but we will do like this is because there's been a few chops and changes within that squad.
Yeah, and they're missing a couple. Tyrrell Lomax is out. Tupou Vai is out as well. But I'm looking down their squad. It's stacked, pal. It is stacked. Like you go, Cody Taylor still going there. Takiaho at hooker. You know, he's a hell of a player. Ethan de Groot at prop. Tiamati Williams came through over this summer in the Rugby Championship at prop. Scott Barrett's there. You know, you look at the back row, Ardy Surveyor, absolute beast. Wallace Satiti, how good was he on the Northern Hemisphere tour last year? Peter Lackey or Lackey is, you know, a wicked player in the back row. Back row, once you get outside of those three, I think is a bit of a struggle for him.
Not just back row, but so the back five for the All Blacks has been stacked in years gone by. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 has been like the 5 back rowers playing, the quality. And see, I can see you there. You're digging through a little bit. It didn't roll off the same.
No.
I'm not saying that Ireland do, for example, maybe because we're closer to Ireland, but it doesn't roll off the same. You mentioned Bowden Barrett, he's 34.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong being 34.
I'd love to be 34, James.
I'd love to be 34. You know, I've been retiring people at 32 for the past 8 years.
You're such a shit bloke.
Nothing wrong with being 34.
Sometimes you're a shit bloke, aren't you?
No, it's not. I'm just an idiot. But that's what I mean. So go on, keep going going with your All Blacks feeding.
And that is true. So you're out and out starting. If you've got Scott Barrett I don't know who they pick as the other second row. Patrick Tuipulotu, I think, is out injured, which is a big loss. So you're right about the second row. Scott Barrett goes down, you're struggling. And then outside of, realistically, Ardy Surveyor, Wallace Atiti, Peter Lakai, Simon Parker, but he's not a big name, is he? And then you go in the backs, Ratimer and Cam Roygard, I think at scrum half are both class operators. Cam Roygard came back and was really good. Bowden Barrett at 10. Centres, you've got Geordie Barrett, like unbelievable. Quinn Tupaia. Billy Proctor's been really good I think he's had about 9 caps. Anton Leonard-Brown's still there as well. And then the back three, you look at the back three, Leicester, Fine Ganuku, Rico Ioane, Caleb Clark, Sever Reese, Leroy Carter, who came in during the Rugby Championship from the 7th scene and was wicked. Will Jordan as well. So, it's just that balance though, isn't it? Of, you're dead right. The pack now, and they used to absolutely destroy packs, didn't they? Back in the day, the All Blacks. The pack now is a bit of a question mark in terms of the depth in the second row and back row. But I still think they're battle hardened. The Irish, as you said, it's tough for them. Like, we all look at an Ireland team and we kind of compare them to what they do in the Autumn Nation series normally and in the Six Nations when they're in their flow, they're well looked after, they're fresh, there's no instability with the coaching staff or whatever. Let's not forget Andy Farrell didn't coach them last year. He was away with the Lions for the whole of the year, so didn't coach in the Six Nations. You add on the fact that post-Lions tour, some of these boys have hardly played any minutes at all for Leinster, for Ulster. I mean, there's no point in even saying Ulster, Munster, Connacht. It's basically going to be the Leinster team. But they've not played many minutes. The All Blacks are battle-hardened. There's a couple of injuries. So McCarthy's out, isn't he? There's the question mark around 10, whether Jack Crowley plays, Prendergast. So I think there's more question marks about the Ireland team. And there are question marks as well about the All Blacks and where they're at. But I just think the power game sometimes of the likes of Surveyor, Wallace Atiti, the back three, there's going to be a lot of kicking. Will Jordan just scores tries for fun. Bowden Barrett has got magic in his boots and his hands when he needs it. And I just think the All Blacks, and like you said, with the slight frailty around this Irish team, and we've seen it in Leinster to start the season, I know they'll pull on the green jersey and they'll be a different beast, and more will come out of them. But Caelan Doris, their leader, is he fit? He hasn't played yet. Do you throw him in against the All Blacks? There's a lot of question marks around the Ireland team, and I just think the All Blacks will be favourites, even though I want the Irish to win.
Yeah, it'll be close. Out the last 5 games, the All Blacks have won 3. Ireland have won 2. Yeah. So it's going to be close. I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely mega. So for anyone travelling out there, anyone living out there, listening to this, you're in for an unbelievable treat, because the haka and all the build-up around that and the amount of Irish in the stadium is going to be pretty cool.
I might actually get an Ireland shirt to wear for our live show in Chicago, just so I'm fitting in with the locals.
I'll get you one.
Genuine?
Genuinely, I will get you one, but you have to wear the one that I get you extra small.
No, triple XL, please don't. I might have had a few too many the night before as well.
You wear the Ireland one, I'll wear the All Black one. How cool is the All Black shirt?
Yeah, it is. It is. But you wore it once.
It is cool.
You wore it once before and it didn't look good on you, did it?
When did I wear it?
Before we did the Lions New Zealand stuff.
Yeah. I was ill then and it was pretty baggy on me. So I'm a bull of a man now. Yeah. So I'm going to wear that one. Yeah, but it'll be wicked.
Yeah. Should we look at the Prem?
How good is the Prem?
Mate, the game on Friday night, your Sarries up against Saints, that rivalry is pretty tasty now. And I forgot, I saw some of the build up to it, and I forgot about the fact that Saints last season, who had nothing to play for in that last game of the season at Northampton against Sarries.
The forward pass.
It wasn't
Luke
forward.
Pierce,
I spoke
pass.
to Luke Pierce over the weekend, and he said it definitely went backwards.
I spoke to Luke, and he said it was forward. I have audio proof. Yeah. So if he's saying that, yeah.
But I forgot about the niggle, because the other side of it, obviously, I think it was Owen Farrell's last game as well, wasn't it? Did they lose the semi-final the season before? I think they did at Northampton. But then that rivalry has grown and grown over the last however many years. And what an epic game. Like, Saints flew out the blocks, didn't they? in that first half. Sarries were a bit shell-shocked. Finn Smith in that first half was on fire, assists everywhere, kicking game, short kicking game, the attacking kicks. And I suppose Sarries was summed up in that first half, or the first 25 minutes, by Max Malin's his error that led to the try from the kick through.
Tom Pearson.
Yeah, and they were just off the pace a little bit. Talking about Tom Pearson, how much does he love playing against Sarries? Do you remember that game when he ran through about 50 of them when he was playing for London Irish back in the day? He always gets up for that game. He was massive again. And there were so many talking points across the whole game. But Sarries, how they came back from 17-0 down after 25 minutes to then lead just before half-time. And actually lead, they were 19-17 up at half-time, weren't they?
Yeah.
And one thing I want to talk about, this made me realise how old I was. So, remember I played at Sarries in 2002, 2003, a long, long time ago. I played with a certain Kieran Bracken, who his kids at the time were babies, or not even born yet. And then how proud would you be if you're Kieran Bracken of seeing your two lads not only play for Sarries, start for Sarries, but also play in parts as well as they did. And Jack scores a try. What about his wheels? He's definitely got his mum's wheels because Kieran Bracken wasn't particularly fast. I did play it with him at the end of his career when he was about 42 and his hair had slipped off. But mate, how proud must you be as a dad, Kieran, watching that, a club that you played for the majority of your career, and then seeing your two boys start together at 9 and 11. It's just wicked.
Yeah, it's really cool. I've always said that, when I see the Barrett boys or when Tom and Max Evans were playing for Scotland together. Yeah, I find it's just everything needs to align, doesn't it? Like timings, you got to have two boys or three or four or five if you're the Barrett's dad as well. But then to make it as an athlete, make it as a rugby player is one thing, but then to make it professionally and for a top team at the same time is... Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great story. They're both brilliant players, and for Charlie to be playing the same position as his dad, who's a Saracens legend, yeah, it's a big shout out to them as well.
Yeah,
and it's come quick for them, hasn't it? Like the Prem now specifically, and especially, we're seeing loads of young lads come through. And this is the good thing for England, right? It's almost like now with where the salary cap is and players moving around and going over to France or, whatever they decide to do, you're seeing a lot more youngsters come through earlier. Like normally it would be the Prem Cup that you see them in, but now they're getting the profile and they're having to get up to that level. Like that level on Friday night against Northampton was Champions Cup, like close to international physicality.
Yeah.
I was wowed by what I was seeing and the jeopardy in it. And we mentioned like Noah Kalori, to go from that 1 week against Sale and then you're into that chaos against Northampton, the quality that you need to be and the speed that you need to get up to with that is really good. I've been so impressed with the Prem. I know some of them have been big scores, but the jeopardy and the back and forth and the quality of the attack on the line, right? I don't know much about attack, but I know good attack when I see it, and I know quality skill set. Northampton's attack at the line is brilliant. And I was saying this to my mate. We were talking about the teams that are doing well or that will do well this year. And we know it was mentioned about Lee Blackett at Bath and Joe Shaw at Sarries and like whoever it is, whatever team, you need a rocket within that coaching group. You need one where you're like, how? Where's it coming from? And Sam Vesti, his name has always been there and it keeps coming up because Northampton's point of difference, yes, they've worked on their defence, set piece naturally with Phil Dowson and the team that they've got there in and around the line-out drive. The attack has always been their point of difference and it just gets better. It literally just gets better. And you mentioned the little kick-throughs from Finn Smith. Like that's not a fluke. One, the skill's incredibly hard. But where the runners are coming from inside, from outside, the manipulation around that, the ability to get on the front foot and the players that they've brought in to do that, they're really, really good to watch Northampton.
Yeah, and they're so connected. Like you've got Mitchell at 9, Finn Smith at 10, Dingwall at 12, that sort of 9, 10, 12 axis. And then you've got Freeman further out. Hendy was wicked on Friday night as well. But it's the way that they go so close to the line and they've got the ability to go short pop pass on a different change of angle line. They've got the ball out the back. They've got the short kicking game. And it's like they're a triple threat every time they're at the line. And it's so hard to then defend against. And because of the layers in attack, the options that Finn Smith has, their line break, I think they got 16 line breaks at the weekend, made 140 carries. They made 529 post-contact meters. And this is against the Sarries team, who are a physical outfit, right? And I've based a lot of their success on physicality. So it's about having multiple options at the line, which is all very well Sam Vesti putting that into place in the week. But as a 10, in Finn Smith, having those options, but also having the ability to pick out the right options and execute the skill at the line under pressure, knowing you're about to get slammed in the ribs because you're so hard at the line. It's a real skill. Hutchinson was wicked in the centres as well, and his game-breaking ability and passing and kicking ability to create tries was second to none. And they're a privilege to watch. They always are. And it's no coincidence that last year they get to the Champions Cup final, and they based that run on having a lot of their England players fit and available. They struggled in the Prem because they were missing those England players and had a load of injuries during Premiership periods. But they've started this season, with an absolute bang, top of the log. And, they're an inspiration to watch. And the Cinch Stadium was absolutely bouncing on Friday night, wasn't it? And I need to call out a Sarries player, actually. And you know who I'm going to call out, don't you?
Oh, Marco Riccioni.
Marco Riccioni. He's coming off.
The 3 stars, baby.
How many have you won, son? How many has he won? He hasn't won any, has he?
He's a Saracen, but that would have gone down very well if Sarries had won. The fact that they lost.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I get the whole thing. But he's pointing at the 3 stars. He ain't won any of them himself. But I go back to, I remember when Jamie Vardy did it, I think they were playing Tottenham. And he was getting hounded by the Tottenham fans. It was Monday Night Football. Leicester were back in the Prem after they got relegated. And they've got the one badge on their arm where they've won the Premier League or something. He just, as he gets subbed off, he just points at that. He said, me 1, you lads 0, in terms of winning the Premier League. And it reminded me of Riccioni, but I was like, Jamie Vardy actually won the Premier League when he played for Leicester. Riccioni ain't won shit in terms of the Champions Cups. But it was funny, and I like all that stuff. But if you're going to do it, make sure you've won one yourself.
Mate, we need to give a big shout out to JJ Van der Mesh as well.
High five.
My goodness me. 6'7", 150 kgs. You'll struggle to find a bigger man in the Prem. And there's a few comparisons that people are starting to make around Will Skelton, Emmanuel Molfol, Miafu in France as well. And we've always spoke about big carcasses getting on the front foot. They're using them a lot off line-outs. They're using them a lot to get around they're using him like Will Skelton, right? So that's how you need to use a player of that ability. And again, you think from a coaching perspective and a fitness and how fit you need to be to play in the Prem, Rassi Erasmus as... Again, I'm not retiring Eben Etzebeth or Snyman.
You would never retire Eben. There's one.
I would never.
You'd retire a lot of players, but not Eben. You'd do something else to Eben.
I would never retire my
with a firm grip, but you would not ever retire your Eben, would you?
Well, I couldn't let him do it to me, mate. I'd be screaming. So, but yeah, in JJ Van der Mesh, they've unearthed a quality player and. Look, I don't know how much he's getting paid, but they'll struggle to keep him if he carries on how he's going because he's a point of difference for them. Gets them on the front foot and losing Augustus to
Ulster.
Yeah, that my worry was for Northampton that they wouldn't have the power, which we've seen teams like Gloucester are really struggling with at the minute to get on the front foot and to get over the gain line and to have that physicality. In order to play a game like Gloucester wanted to play or a game like Northampton do play, you need to be on the front foot, you need to be the ball. And in JJ Van der Mesh, they've got a real point of difference within their team now.
Other games, Jim. Leicester, 36-35 winners over Sale. Another belter of a game. It looked like Leicester were going to run away with it, but Sale found it within themselves. George Ford at the line, wicked ball skills, little inside balls, face passes. And Sale found it within themselves to dig deep and bounce back. But that was a hell of a ding-dong as well on Saturday, wasn't it?
Big win for Leicester.
Yeah.
That could have been a tough game off the back of Sale getting absolutely, well, let's call it, embarrassed against Saracens the week before. You know, you're looking at that game where they played the semi-final the year before.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of history there. Leicester won that game there, and they were tight, and they're tight games that they play against each other. I'll be honest. I have to be 100% honest. I thought Sale would be better, especially in that first half physically. They were just being broken too easy.
Yeah.
And if you think, right, you've had 60 points put on you the week before, like your mentality the whole time is defence. And I'm a big fan of Byron McGuigan. He's just been called up to England. I do wonder whether there's a slight distraction within that Sale camp that their defensive coach is now going to England, because you look at them against Sarries, they were poor, right? And if you're him and clearly a proud South African and a proud coach and a brilliant coach by everything that you hear, like you take that to heart, don't you? If you get 60 points put on you, Alex Anderson or the head coach or whoever's looking at your defence coach and being like, what the effing hell is going down? What is going down here? So I just think against Leicester, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to think back to the game, but just defensively, they shipped 36 points.
100 points in 2 games, that is.
Okay, so there you go. Quick maths.
Yeah.
So I just thought there'd be more of a bounce back from the Sharks. But Leicester, fair play, a win against Bath the week before, a team in transition. James O'Connor's been good for them. You know, they've got some quality players within their team still. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of Ollie Chesham, Tommy Raphael being back in. How is he not in the Welsh squad, by the way?
He's
awesome
not. He's not. But you see, he got called up today for
Ollie Cracknell,
for Toby Faletau, which is good news. Radwan scored 2 tries, one of them a worldie off his right foot. I'll tell you who played well. We talk about England, and you mentioned him earlier, and I've picked him in my England starting 15. Freddie Stewart's ball handling, which is something that perhaps people wouldn't necessarily associate with him. They're more like he's just a high ball merchant. The seeds that he put across for a couple of tries, I thought he was outstanding. Leicester, I mean, that's a massive 2 wins for Leicester. Bath last week with the last kick of the game, and then Sale, who are both title contenders, those 2 teams at home. And that's the difference. Like, it's so tight. You know, Leicester could be much further down the table without winning those 2 games in the manner they did in such close games. But they've got some momentum. They've got some belief. 2 big home wins. Emeka Ilione, I loved his run, and I mentioned it earlier. He's just gone, fuck this. I'm running as hard as I can at any Sale defenders. And then 3 of them tried to bury him. Not only 3 of them, but 3 of the biggest ones. So Luke Cowan-Dickey's obviously just piled in.
Ben Bamba's been sat down.
Yeah, Ben Bamba got sat down, but also got clipped by Luke Cowan-Dickey going kamikaze at it as well. It was brilliant.
My word.
Yeah.
This lad's meant to be studying to be a doctor. Why are you carrying like that, bro? Mate, just kick it. And this is what, right? You know when I see things like that?
Yeah.
You know when I see a carry from Ilione like that, right? And rugby gets a lot of hate. Posh boy sport, private school sport. There's a dark irony, isn't there? That this lad is a very clever guy, right? Could be privately educated, doesn't matter. He's at medical school, right? So he's a smart guy, okay? So from a social class standpoint, is there not a dark irony that this lad is studying medicine or to be a doctor or whatever crazy thing or hard or academic thing that he's doing, that he chooses at the weekend to get the ball and run it as hard as he can, route 1 at 3 massive human beings.
Yeah, I think he said.
Do you know what I mean?
I think he said someone's getting broken here. It's either me or them, and he's just run as hard as he can.
But you understand where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah.
So he could choose to do anything he wanted. He could probably be a pilot if he wanted. He's going to be a doctor. Probably means he can be a lawyer. I'm profiling him here as a smart guy. You know, could invest in crypto and do well. Like, I'm sure his investments and his wealth management is all going to be in place, and he has no regard for his own body.
Yeah.
I just think there's a real dark irony when I see that. I'm like, go on, son.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I watched him play as a young lad, and I was like, this lad's got it. Physically, he's got it if he can stay fit. I know he's injured now. But he could be an answer for England at 8 in the future, because he's got a point of difference at the breakdown and
he's a beast.
Power, just out and out power. Yeah, he's a great athlete.
Yeah. Kudos to Leicester, to Donkey, Brett Deacon, and Jeff Parlin and the coaches. It was a good win.
Yeah, everyone's levelling up. Talking about levelling up, did you see Johan van Graham's comments after the Bristol game?
Strong.
Yeah, he said that Bristol were negative. I don't know whether he means about the physicality and the little bit of niggle that was there, but we'll get through this game as well, because I know it's not a derby weekend, but that's as derby weekend in the Prem as you can get with Bath and Bristol. But 40 points to 15, a resilient defensive shift from Bristol, putting almost twice as many tackles, but as we know and as we've said and as we'll probably say for the rest of the season, Bath are quality, Bristol are struggling with injury, and it was probably a horrible game for them to get on the last game of this group of games.
Yeah, they showed so much ticker, Bristol, and Bath dominated lots of it. They had a couple of tries chalked off, but 64 minutes in, Bath were dominant, and it was only 19-15 to Bath. So Bristol, the thing that will please Pat Lam is the fight, the heart, the niggle that they showed. And there was niggle for both teams, right? I've got to make a point, though. The TMO and the ref had absolute stinkers. The TMO has given the try for Gabe O'Gray when he's about a foot on the field, throwing it into the line out. He's dummied it 3 times. It was just a shambles from the refereeing team. And I think that's where Johan van Graam was probably a little bit frustrated. So just instead of pointing at the refs, he pointed at Bristol and just said they're a bit negative. But they had a load of injuries. Ollie Lawrence was class. He causes a bit of a fight. Do you see that? Not a fight, a scuffle. Scores his try and then just tips the ball onto the fullback's head for Bristol, which sparks it. And then he's just smiling. But there was a lot of niggle. I thought Guy Pepper, who is in the England squad as well, was outstanding as ever. Sam Underhill just chopping boys left, right and centre. Finn, again, he's got his slippers on. He's got his slippers on and he's just creating tries out of nothing with crossfield kicks, with little chip kicks, with no-look passes. He was fantastic. And we say it most weeks, don't we, how good he is. But he was absolutely brilliant. But I think the difference in the end was Bath's squad depth and bench strength that came on, where that was where Bristol kind of ran out of juice because of all their injuries. But a good win for Bath, and we know they're going to be there or thereabouts, certainly in the top 2.
Gloucester, my old team, still winless. They lost 39 points to 12 to Exeter at Sandy Park. Henry Slade scored 2 tries for a second week in a row.
How good?
Yeah, he was great. Ethan Roots, mate. Exeter look good.
Yeah.
Mate, they look good. They look physical. Defence is really good. Joseph De Weber was amazing. Josh Yusefa Scott as well, banging boys, mate, just physical. Daffy Jenkins, Fisalau as well in the back row. Real identity, and that's just the pack, right? I've not even mentioned how good Henry Slade was and Ikitau was for them and Feo Bosa, but real clear identity, simple game plan, physical getting off the line. Ethan Roots can't be far away from England, mate.
Yeah.
Like with that, you cannot ignore that kind of physicality. He is banging molefoles. He is banging people and he's carrying hard and direct. Reminds me of, big shout this, Jacques Berger, the way that he tackles.
Yeah.
So, and with Jacques Berger at Saracens, you could maybe confuse him a little bit by saying, look, mate, we want you to be a link man, passing it out the back. No, don't worry about the ball. I'm not saying they say this to Ethan Roots. Just bang men. And that's what Ethan Roots is doing. He looks leaner, he looks physical, and I like the look of Exeter. The fact that they're third, and we were saying, oh, how good will Exeter be this year? Some really good signings, desperate plea by Rob Baxter to his players, because if they didn't perform this year, he'd be out the door, right? And it looks like they've managed to turn around what has been a tough couple of years to actually a real identity and DNA back to where they were. So Tony Rowe will be happy, I'm sure.
And Feo Boso 7 tries in 5 games, so that's why
he's the one.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
He's wicked. But he did get skinned, and I want to talk about it because Will Joseph scores the try of the season contender. And it wasn't, he finished it off from 20 metres out, but you've got to give a mega shout out. A teenager, Jack Cotgrave, who made an unbelievable break from a ball that had gone backwards, beat about 4 Exeter players, went outside Feo Boso in a 5 metre channel. It was a wicked break. And then they go inside ball, and Will Joseph scores under the sticks. But Gloucester, they've just got so many injuries. Played 5, lost 5. And you look at the difference. So Gloucester are now where Exeter were this time last year, if you remember. Gloucester, they're just relying on a lot of young kids, aren't they? Like you said last week, there's not much experience. Add into that their injury list, and it is going to be a tough season for them, I reckon.
Talking of tough seasons, Newcastle, they're taking another Ravos
Oh my God, they're taking another 50.
Against Quins.
Marcus Smith show again, 35-0 up at half-time. 52-0 down on 74 minutes they were. Absolutely stinking for Newcastle. Playing touch. Marcus Smith. I said Finn Russell had his slippers on earlier. Marcus Smith had his slippers on too. He was just making breaks for fun, and his ball game was ridiculously good. But you're playing against Newcastle, and the bubble has burst fully, hasn't it? Now they need a mega kind of injection of cash and signings. I don't know what's going on with the coaching setup. You've got a bunch of coaches that haven't got much experience as being a head coach. You've got rid of Dimes, who would have given you some fight. And I don't know. Red Bull must be looking at it thinking, don't worry about this year. Let's write this year off. Let's just put all our efforts.
Jurgen Klopp's coming in.
Yeah, give it Jurgen. To give it Jurgen in his teeth. Hell of a set of teeth.
They ain't real, are they?
No, they're definitely not real, those ones.
They're the very best composite you've ever seen.
Yeah. So it's really sad for Newcastle again at the minute after the positivity, but just sacking Dimes, I just don't get it. And I'll keep saying it. But there is maybe Billy Vannapola's going there. Are they going to spend the checkbook for next year? Because they need to, because they are shocking at the minute. Well, Jim, that's the Prem ticked off. Let's look at the URC. 8 games. Some not as exciting as the Prem games, but equally, the Stormers and Munster continue their unbeaten start to the URC season. Stormers scored 23 unanswered points to beat Benetton 31-16. Potential banana skin that game. And they didn't have Sasha Feinberg, Umgamazulu. Munster ground out a 17-15 win over Connacht at Thomond Park. Those two are the real deal, eh?
They are. Munster now very much contenders for the URC. I know we're a long way away and it's a long old season, but yeah, seen enough with what they're doing, even under pressure to go away to Connacht, and it looks uncomfortable for them at times there. But yeah, to back up the win against Leinster, which would have been everything, we need to back it up, and Connacht made it uncomfortable for them. Like the old Munster you could have seen would have slipped up against Connacht, would have been a massive game for Connacht, and Munster shot all their bullets in the week before against Leinster. Tough conditions, got the job done. Ultimately, that's what the coaches would have been thinking about and would have been happy about as they close out this period of games. Yeah,
dogfight of a game. Jack O'Donoghue got 2 tries. I tell you who impressed.
Wicked player, him.
Yeah, I tell you who impressed me though for Connacht was Josh Ioane at 10, just before he threw the intercept to kill Gallen. But Connacht are a lot better under Stuart Lancaster than I think they have been. But Munster, it's all about Craig McMillan and what he's done in his first 5 games there. Played 5, won 5. It's a hell of an effort. Ulster lost their first game of the season without their Ireland internationals to the Lions, and they were missing Augustus as well at number 8. Although Robert Balakoon did get a hat-trick. They lost 49-31 at Ellis Park. So frustrating for Richie Murphy's men, but they've had a good few weeks beating the Sharks and the Bulls at home the week before that. So Ulster, they'll be disappointed, but Balakoon got a hat-trick, so fair play.
Nice. Jack Dempsey, Andrew, named player of the match, or man of the match as I like to call him, as Glasgow, they edged past the Bulls. You were there on Friday night, but great to see Jack Dempsey back from a Scotland perspective. And I'll be honest, I thought Glasgow would have won more comfortably. Yeah. That's what I was going, basically what the pundits were saying in the lead up when you were profiling the 2 teams together.
Yeah, I was eating. But yeah, it was a scrappy game. Wasn't a brilliant game to watch. Loads of scrum penalties. Jamie Batty got absolutely hosed at scrum time, poor bloke. But Glasgow fought back and got control of it through their driving maul. And some unbelievable big carries from Jack Dempsey. Great to see him back. I love Jack Dempsey as a player. Apparently he's a bit odd though. That's what the lads were saying. But
I've had a couple of nights out with him, and I don't know whether it was me or him or there was a lot of oddness. It felt.
There you go. Leinster got back on the horse, James, with 6 debutants in their team to beat Zebra 50 points to 26. People are talking about Casper Gabry, about being a generational talent. Is originally from Austria. Hello. But he's moved to Ireland as a schoolboy. Bobby Sheehan Dan's younger brother played as well. So that was a good one. That is a banana skin. If ever you've seen a banana skin when you got hosed the week before.
Mate, it's not a banana skin for Leinster, he says. Maybe this year it could have been a banana skin with how their start of the year's gone for them, start of the season's gone for them.
They also had a 20-minute red early on as well for Andrew Osborne. So you start throwing them in and you're like, oh, imagine losing to Zebra, but they didn't. They put a 50 on them.
On to a bit of Welsh rugby, Andrew. A day after finding out that the WRU will cut the regions down from 4 to 3, a classic. Ospreys and Dragons thought we're going to leave it all out there. We don't want it to be us. And they came up with a draw. 19-19 at Rodney Parade, with the host fighting back from 12-0 done.
Welsh rugby.
You go.
Yeah, I mean, it was a dour game. It was. I tried to watch some of it.
Okay, I'm glad you said, because I feel harsh saying that because I'm all in on the Prem now. Yeah. I know that you're working on the URC, but the fact that loads of the internationals are missing and you watch it, you got no fans. You called it. It was the weather. Yeah, let's just blame the weather.
Blame the weather. But what I will say, I feel harsh saying this. When the Sharks should have lost to the Dragons. Back a few weeks ago at Rodney Parade, when they didn't go for a drop goal. The Dragons had an easy drop goal. Tinas de Beer, the 10, should have gone for a drop goal, didn't. It gets worse this week. They draw with the Ospreys, but he's missed a conversion on 76 minutes, which was relatively straightforward. And then he's missed a penalty with nearly the last kick of the game as well. So Dragons should have had 2 victories, but they didn't. And enough said about that, the better. But in positive news in Wales, and we're going to wax lyrical about Cardiff, boy.
Cardiff bud.
They mounted a comeback from 19-12 down against Edinburgh to beat them 20 points to 19. And fair play to Cardiff. They need a huge shout out, really, because they have played 5, won 4 and lost 1 at the start of this URC season. They lost 1 game to Munster, which they probably should have won away from home. But also, they lost their coach just before the season started. Remember we were talking about it, and there was Matt Sherritt's prepared them over pre-season, then he leaves to go to the Wales job. So a massive shout out to everyone involved with Cardiff. Big win. Brilliant try from Josh Adams as well. And they are the bright spark amongst a very doomy and gloomy Welsh rugby at the minute. So Cardiff, they're 4th in the URC. Hell of a start to the season, and getting a win over Jim's Edinburgh always makes me happy.
Has it been confirmed what team is getting chopped from Wales yet? The rumours are Scarlets on it.
Well, this is the thing. So the Scarlets lost as well to the Sharks. They're played 4, lost 4. So I don't know how it works, but they basically said and suggested, this isn't hard and fast rules, by the way. This is what the WRU have suggested. They said they want 1 in the east, 1 in the west, and 1 in Cardiff. So Cardiff are safe. And when you say 1 in the east, that's only the Dragons, and they're the worst normally. But the Scarlets are the worst at the minute because they're played 4, lost 4. So it basically, the way people are talking about it, it's between the Scarlets and the Ospreys for the team that folds or merges. Just call them the Scats.
I couldn't believe Ospreys with how much they've fallen, but the Scarlets, surely not. Team in red.
Yeah.
Lethally.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. But what I will say, did you see Sam Warburton's comments over the weekend? Fair play. He has... I like to think I say what I see. Sam Warburton has come out and said what he's seen. He's basically said, by losing a team, he said there's 25% of players in professional rugby in Wales that shouldn't be professional rugby players in Wales and are, he didn't say stealing a living, but that's the way I've interpreted it, just shouldn't be professional rugby players. So he said, I think it's the right thing to do to get rid of some of the deadwood. And he didn't say that word. He just said there's 25% of players that shouldn't.
That's you. You're adding the deadwood. You're just going full brutal.
Yeah.
He did say to me that he thought there should be 2 teams.
Yeah, he's upped it to 3 now because he's obviously realised the error of his ways. But
well, he said to me 3, like to have 1 up north in Wales, which obviously they're not doing. Yeah. So, yeah.
But there's a lot of water to go under the bridge with that scenario. There's going to be still some consultation, whatever that means. But basically, someone's getting binned off before 2028.
Messy.
Yeah.
Messy, Andy.
Yeah.
But what's not messy, let's go more upbeat because now it's time for other news, Andrew.
Really?
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, that deserves a big entrance then, James.
Okay. In other news. In other news. Right, yeah. So Ian has been in contact. So it's not just other news, it's other news with listeners' questions.
There we go.
Ian has asked if there has been questions around both Ireland and New Zealand having fallen off since that epic battle at the Rugby World Cup in 2023. Who needs this win more? So I'm thinking Ian could be the shit's Rob, and basically he's just changed his own name to Ian. But Ian, we will answer the question. We have alluded to it earlier in the show. Do we think that Ireland and New Zealand have fallen off since that epic battle at the Rugby World Cup in 2023? I would say, to a degree, yes, because these two teams work in World Cup cycles.
Yeah.
So you see that at the very top end of our sport because they work in these cycles. They blood new players coming through, players retire, Peter O'Mahony, Conor Murray, just to name two from Ireland. It is a little bit of a change of guard. New Zealand have been a team in transition, I think, for longer than Ireland, it feels. So have they fallen off somewhat? Who needs this win more? Ireland.
Yeah, I agree. Ireland won't get the monkey off their back from the World Cup until they beat New Zealand again, right? And so ultimately they lost last year to them in November, took their home record of 19 undefeated. Ireland need this victory massively because there's starting to be this snowball effect of questions around Irish rugby as a whole and what is the depth level in certain positions. So if they can beat New Zealand, they just put all that to bed for a wee while, and then they've got to face Razzie's South Africa in a few weeks as well. So I think Ireland need this victory more than the All Blacks.
Well, Andrew, in other news, it's not other news, it's actually no news, but we will be in Chicago this Thursday for a live show with Geordie Murphy.
Yes.
And Bernard Chapman. Look at you smiling from ear to ear.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah, like a Glasgow smile.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I can see, and I am worried, but let's not forget Geordie Murphy, friend of the show, won in Chicago against the All Blacks. And friend of the show, Bernard Chapman, one of the best in the business, will be there on Thursday in Chicago. We'll be there in New York the night before. So get along to one of those if you can. There's still a few tickets available. I don't know how many we're selling because we've already sold about 3,000. But tickets are on Eventbrite. All you need to do is search the Rugby Pod and check out our socials as the big day comes. It feels like a wedding.
I know. It's a stag do, James. It is a stag do. That's how excited I am.
Wedding and a funeral.
You know?
Wedding and a funeral.
I hope we don't die. I got another one for you, James, because John asks, who is the best team from the Northern Hemisphere right now? Is it France, Ireland, England, or Scotland? Because it ain't Wales.
Scotland weren't even on that list, Andrew. You've added that, so thank you
very
much.
Guy.
Thank
I'm
you,
just
mate.
a nice guy.
No, you're spending more time up here and stuff like that. France, Ireland, or England? I think England are good at the minute.
Yeah,
I do. I think they've got a great profile of players coming through now, but I've got to say France.
100%.
That tour to New Zealand and watching how close they pushed the All Blacks with players that I had never heard of.
They took the Shags.
Was incredible. Everything is right in France at the minute, apart from the French. Everything is right in France at the minute. And, you know, Ireland are Ireland, right? They're always going to be good. But to answer the question from John, I'm going to put them in order, if I may, Andrew, and you can say agree or disagree. Who is the best team from the Northern Hemisphere right now? I'm going to go France.
Agree.
Then Ireland.
No.
Then England.
No.
Nope, you're going to go England.
Yeah, I'm going England second. Until the
I need
Irish...
to see England.
Until the Irish beat the All Blacks this weekend.
All right. I need to see. Yeah, this weekend will show us all.
Another one for you, Jim. Fraser from Scotland.
How you doing, pal?
How are you, pal? He says, what do you see from Scotland right now, Jim? Who needs to be the talisman? And New Caps, Liam McConnell and Harry Morris, how are they going to go? Never heard of them, I'll be honest.
I don't know much about the New Caps, I'll be honest with you. Let's see how it unfolds. And who needs to be the talisman for Scotland? It's a very easy one for me to say.
Sione.
And it's not Finn or Sione. It's not, no. Mate, we need a forward.
Matt
to
Fagerson.
Step up. Matt Fagerson potentially. Scott Cummins looked good for Glasgow, didn't he? The other night as well. British and Irish Lion didn't start the tour amazingly well, finished the tour very, very well.
Dempsey.
Grant Gilchrist as well. Jack Dempsey, when fit. When Scotland were really, really firing, Jack Dempsey was integral to everything Scotland were doing. But you see, I am bumbling around and muffling around a little bit here. We need a forward, and I don't know who that person is yet. I don't think anyone has reared their head and said, I'm the guy. Rory Darge was doing it.
Yeah. Injured
as
though,
well.
isn't he? Injured.
Yeah, so we need someone in the forwards. Pierre Schoeman has been there or thereabouts and has been doing it. Scotland will not have the success if we keep talking about Finn and Sione, right? And Douan. Yes, that it's the Northampton thing, right? And it is what successful teams are built on. Okay, so I'm trying to use different analogies. Where the All Blacks are struggling is their forwards, I think, right? They don't have the greats of years gone by, which their back five was basically built around. Scotland, it feels like, where's our Caelan Doris? Where's our Joe McCarthy? Where's our Dan Sheehan? Where's our Maro Itoje?
But that's a Beth.
Yeah, where's our... So here you go. So you start naming the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of them players come from within the forwards.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, and so I haven't got an answer to that question yet, but a talisman for me, we need to start seeing some forwards come through. So JJ needs a bit more coaching, needs to get a bit of hair under the armpits, and he could be a 6 or 7. He could be a 6 or 7 in the back row. Okay, Andrew. Yeah. It's time for your section, but there's a bit about me at the start.
No, there's not.
Because it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, it is. It's the good, the bad, and ugly.
The Goode, the bad, and the ugly. And it is sponsored by...
I'm not posh. This is the bit about me. Yeah, it's back. It is back by popular demand.
No way.
Maul and Goo. Maul and Brawl is back. It's back. Yeah, get the distribution lines and the channels and the production line ready because Maul and Brawl is back just in time for Christmas. Christmas has started early. We know that, right? Okay.
Is it all going out of date?
There's Christmas markets up. There's lights. No, it isn't. No, I actually had to look at the date, so I felt harsh saying that. It isn't going out of date. It is till the end of 2026 that it goes out. So, which is the normal, which apparently is normal in skin's healthcare and human optimization products. So we're good. We're aligned with that. But yeah, Maul and Brawl is back up and running. So get your orders in ASAP for Christmas delivery. Shampoo and shower gel, and you get to smell like the legend that is me. Andrew, be honest, do I smell good?
Hold on. This is based on my smell. Let's not forget that. Vanilla and tobacco.
No, it's dark honey. Tobacco.
Well,
it's
the
fine.
same.
Bit of vanilla. Same thing. Sweet.
Sweet and fags. That's basically my smell.
Of course, which is the smell. So if you want to smell like sweets and fags, okay, just head over to maulandbrawl.com. Beck's getting things ready. The production line is ready to go, and we will be sending out orders as of this week. So maulandbrawl.com, shampoo and shower gel, dark honey and tobacco could be yours. And thank you for everyone who's bought stuff in the past, but it's more. Christmas
buy more.
time. Yeah, buy more.
Buy more, and we'll do next day delivery as well at some point.
We're not ready for that yet. We'll get it. You get it within the month.
There we go. Let's start off with the Goode then. Firstly, shout outs to Noah Kalori and Jack Kenningham, two uncapped players announced in England's Autumn Nations squad last night. Tommy Freeman gets a shout out, 4 tries. And also Saints get a shout out for their victory over Sarries. Over in the URC, the Stormers and Munster get shout outs for played 5-1-5. Sitting first and second in the log. Perfect start to the season for those guys. Glasgow beat the Bulls at home to go third with a played 5-1-4 record. Jack Dempsey on his return getting man of the match, so good to see him back for Glasgow and, of course, all of Scottish rugby. Over in France, Paul Gustard and Stade Francais get a shout out. They moved top of the top 14 on Saturday after they beat Montpellier 35-12. But Toulouse also get a shout out because they knocked them off the top spot down into second, Stade Francais, when they put 59 points on Toulon to go back to the top at the football stadium on Sunday night. But the Goode this week, and wait for this everyone, it's going to go to somewhere in Wales. And we're going to give it, James, to Cardiff. They beat Edinburgh 2019 but mainly their start to the season, the first block of URC games. They've played 5, won 4, lost 1, but their record for where people expected them to be after losing their coach at the start of the season, and all the issues in Welsh rugby, they're punching way above their weight. So massive shout out to all the Cardiff coaches, all the Cardiff players, and that's why they win the Goode this week, Jim.
Yeah,
the bad, few bits of bad. We're going to start off with the ref and the TMO in the Bath versus Bristol game. The TMO's in the biscuit tin. The ref, I can't even talk about it. He was shocking, but they get mentioned the bad. Zebra get mentioned the bad. They took 50 at Leinster under 18s at the weekend. Toulon took 59 points at Toulouse, so they get a mention. Cast took 63 at Claremont over in the top 14. Newcastle took 52 at Harlequins. They've played 5, lost 5, as have Gloucester after losing to Exeter away from home. The Scarlets, they lost again against the Sharks, and they're now played 4, lost 4. But the bad this week, we're going back to the top 14, Jim, because Perpin-Poo, oh my God.
Perpin-Poo.
Oh my God. Played 8, lost 8. They lost to Montalban at the weekend, who had a player sent off as well. Frank Azema and Perry Freshwater, our old teammate, are the coaches there. It's all kicking off. Played 8, lost 8.
Good lads, though.
Yeah, good lads.
They're good lads, though.
Good lads, but coaching-wise, they're struggling because Perpignan are absolutely shocking. So that's why they win the bad this week. And then the ugly, 2 bits of ugly actually this week. We're going to start off with a South African, James, as we know. Jan Hendrik Wessels. He got banned for 9 weeks last week for grabbing Josh Murphy's bollocks. No one grabs the nuts anymore, lads. That used to happen in France, but not anymore. You're not allowed to do it. He got banned for 9 weeks, and there wasn't any actual video evidence or footage of him grabbing the testicles. So our mate Razzy's gone mad. He's like, we've got to beat them on the pitch and in the boardroom. He ain't happy.
Balls, grabbing balls, and allegedly. So if there's no footage, then I mean, what are you going based on?
I don't know how you've banned him. Based on you're basing on it, and it might have been an accident, right? You know, you're just trying to clear someone out. Josh Murphy might have massive balls, and that could be the problem. Like if he was cleaning you out.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If he was cleaning me out, mate, he's grabbed them. He's done it intentionally. But if he's doing Sean Lamont, he might have cleared him out by the knee, and he's still grabbed them.
Exactly. So that gets a mention in the ugly. But the ugly this week goes to Thomas Dominguez, who is the scrum half from Zebra. He looks about 12. He's got his bleached blonde hair, but his tackle on one knee with no wrap basically hyperextended the life out of James Culhane's knee. Shocking injury, but you think Ben Earl's tackle, you know, when he puts his knee on the floor and goes and whacks someone low, Luke Cowan-Sickie does it as well. That's what Thomas Dominguez did, and James Culhane hyperextended his knee. It looked horrible. Poor bloke. So that's why Thomas Dominguez is going to win the ugly this week.
Right, Andrew, a load of shout-outs. Thank you to everyone who keeps sending them through. Let's get into it. I'll go first. We've got a big shout-out to former Sale and Connacht man, Kieran Booth. He's hanging up the boots for a bit. And next August, he's setting off to cycle 30,000 kilometres around the planet, the world, the earth, with his girlfriend. Proper life after rugby stuff here. He's documenting the journey on Instagram. Kieran does things _ So give him a follow and some support as he pedals his way around the globe.
A big shout out as well to Torbay Sharks RFC, who are an invitational vet side from South Devon. They're off this week to Cape Town on tour. All 114 of them. Absolute carnage. They're basically saying it's a stag do, but a vet side, they found 114 players, which is a hell of an effort. They've got 2 fixtures against Goodwood RFC and Durbell RFC, so a big shout out to their leader and organiser, Russ Baker.
Got a shout out to Visually Impaired Rugby celebrating 10 years with a tournament at Grasshoppers, played there before, RFC. Osterley on the 15th of November from 10 a.m. and they are featuring the Northern Bees and Southern Spartans. And if you're heading to Allianz Twickenham, it's only 10 minutes away. So you get your free tickets on Eventbrite.
Yeah, good stuff. Also a shout out to North Dorset Colts, who have had an up and down start to the season, but a great group of lads. They're only going to grow as a team and a superb club. So I met one of the dads in the airport the other day. He was a good man as well. Quinn's fan though, Jim. and I'll keep his name out of it. But yeah, big shout out to North Dorset Colts.
Lastly, I've got a shout out to Fergus. He's been a lifelong legend, sounds a bit like me, of Long Buckby Rugby Club, previous first team captain. He's had to retire because of injury, so we're giving him a big shout out. His missus, Chrissy, and his little man, Joey. I imagine that's his boy. I don't imagine he's got a baby kangaroo. But anyway, big shout out to you, Fergus, and get well soon with your injury, bro.
Yeah, go well, buddy. Long Buckby, we used to smash them at Barker Bus, didn't we? Do you remember?
Long Buckby.
Yeah, back in the day. Well, thanks, Jim. I would say thanks to Rob, but I think he's been sat on the bog with the shits all afternoon.
Arse and mouth, he said, coming out of both, streaming out of both.
Well,
oh dear.
That'll be me after New York and Chicago, James.
Well, there we go. So for those of you coming to our New York and Chicago shows, we look forward to seeing you. For those of you who aren't, you're missing out, but it's going to be a hell of a weekend of rugby. Autumn Nation Series is back, baby. We didn't even mention Scotland playing the USA.
Without Finn.
Yeah, I'm confident. Yeah, without Finn. But I'm confident, he says. Yeah, I am confident. But yeah, thanks to everyone as always. It's incredible to think where we have been and where we are now. And it's all down to you, the listeners. So please subscribe, do the obligatories.
Yeah, it certainly is. Can't wait to see everyone that's coming to Chicago and New York this week. I'm thirsty. I'm going to get James Hamilton thirsty for 2 nights as well. We are privileged. It is going to be fun. I'm smiling from one side of my face to the other, and we will see you all in New York on Wednesday.
Rugby Spot.
Spot a pod.